Hello everybody. A very warm welcome to Bizway show. Bizway is an online presence platform sharing about entrepreneurs' wow story. It's such a pleasure to talk about Bizway. Bizway is brought to you by Womenlize and Solveworks. Womenlize is an online magazine listed in top 40 women's online magazines to follow in 2020. It is promoting excellence in women across the globe so that they can be best version of themselves. Solveworks is a business service company in India founded by Mani Lakraju, reeling the ideation and helping entrepreneurs to transform their ideas into businesses with support of mentoring, technology advisory, fundraising. I will hand over to Mani Lakraju to take it further.
Welcome. Welcome Balaji, Pasumarthy, and welcome Ravishekar Kalepu. We are happy to have you today on Bizway. Let me share a quick intro of what Bizway is. Bizway is an international online presence platform with a key objective to foster beyond by enabling business to grow into future. An online presence platform is a service which is offered by the Bizway team to facilitate business to join an online show and create the marketable content from the show, which is later made available at various branded digital places like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, etc. And also on the online magazine Women Lines for 24/7 digital presence on the content online. The platform solves three major issues. One, it's basically a soft version of Shark Tank for businesses to pitch, a cross-border promotion of product and service, and access to enthusiastic professionals who want to gain from the platform. The way it works is business has to register for the slot on the Bizway platform and need to take the relevant briefing to get ready for the presence online. The briefing will be done in two stages. First one is business mentoring that helps entrepreneurs to look at well-curated format to capture the key pointers, and later one is personal branding tips to showcase the wow story during the online sessions. We at Bizway host the online show with the entrepreneurs to create their wow story, and we bring up the key insights plus valuable learnings from the speakers on this show, which will be presented to the world in the form of business bites. And great to have wonderful speakers today, Mr. Balaji Pasumarthy and Mr. Ravishekar Kalepu. Thank you, and over to you, Charu.
Thanks, Mani. So let's gear up to hear the wow story from an accomplished entrepreneur. Pleasure to welcome Balaji, founder, Golden Square Services and Virtual Office and Executive Director, BNI Bangalore. A BTech from IIT Madras, MBA IIM Bangalore, who started his venture very early in his career. Balaji's passion is to liberate entrepreneurs and businesses from constraints so they can be in their flow. His expertise is in creating self-driven and self-organizing teams. He shares his expertise in the Liberated Enterprise Creator Group's advisory programs. Through BNI, Golden Square offices, and Venture Catalyst, he smoothes the process of getting clients, having a productive workspace, and getting funds for startups. An entrepreneur, most of his career, he believes work needs to be joy. And entrepreneurship is about expressing your core. Wow. Welcome, Balaji. We are so looking forward to hear your story. Please share with us.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you, Mani, for this opportunity, and I look forward to listening to Ravishekar later on. So my story. So I think really, I'm kind of guessing most of you who are listening to this are entrepreneurs. It's lovely to be an entrepreneur because I believe the whole journey is about discovering yourself and creating your own world, right? There's nothing saying, there's no kind of template that you need to follow this and not do this and so on and so forth. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. So I think I thought of sharing my journey more in terms of lessons that I learned and might be useful for entrepreneurs. And I think the first lesson that I learned, and it's been panning out again and again, is that for every problem, there's an opportunity, right? And that's what you learn in entrepreneurship. So why did I start get into my own business? Because I was feeling like a cog in the wheel in a very reputed company, the best company to work in, but I was feeling like a cog in the wheel. So that was a problem for me. And I thought, hey, you know what? If it's not working for me in the corporate world, I need to start my own business, and that's how I got into entrepreneurship. Later, I'll tell you how that panned out in terms of how I felt and how I'm feeling now. So then I was looking for a problem to solve, and the problem, this was way back in 1995, and India had just opened up its borders, and I was wondering, okay, what business to start? And I thought, okay, there are a lot of MNCs coming into the country, and it used to take around 8-9 months to get a telephone line, right? The infrastructure was so bad. So I said, look, this is a problem that we can solve. So let me start. Those days, co-working was not a word that was invented. So the sector used to be called like serviced offices or business centers and so on. So we started Golden Square serviced offices, and way back. So we had ready customers, because one of our first few customers was Dell Computers. Their India operation started in Golden Square, and several. You name the sector, and Golden Square has been home to that sector which opened up in the country. For example, software services, IT companies. Then the airline companies opened up. So Kingfisher was in our office. Then the insurance sector opened up. We had all the insurance companies, Ingvesha and so on. They started in Golden Square. So you name the sector, and we have had clients working out of Golden Square. So the next problem, which happened, was the 2001 the bubble burst, right? The .com burst happened, and then just before that, during that time I was kind of wondering, I was seeing the occupancy rates go down in Golden Square, and during the .com boom, it was like we had more than 100% occupancy, right? And then I was wondering, what do I do? Because I tried all kinds of advertising, material strategies to get new customers, and all it used to be so expensive. It used to be so this thing, and it was not really working out. So that's when, and this was before the internet, right? Before search, internet was there, but search wasn't popular before Google. So how do I market? How do I get clients? And our business is a little tricky to market when people can't search for you. And the problem is that we don't know where our clients are, right? Yeah, our clients could be next door, planning to set up a new office or a new business, and we don't know they're there, right? So we solved this problem by reversing it. I said, okay, instead of us finding clients, let clients find us, right? And I came up with this concept of watering holes, and we started a magazine. In fact, if you're a Bangalorean for a long time, then you'll remember the magazine called Business Gyan. So it used to look like a Reader's Digest kind of a thing, and we placed it in around 90 different locations that we call watering holes, where new companies would likely to converge, right?
Very innovative idea.
So for example, in KPMG reception, you'll have a dispenser of Business Gyan, or in hotel rooms, you'll have Business Gyan. So such 90 odd locations, and we had our magazine. And the last page used to always have Golden Square advertisement. And we realized that this was a gap, obviously, for a lot of people. And so there were a lot of advertisers who started advertising there, classified and so on. And to cut a long story short, so we were not just, so something which started off as a problem became a revenue generating mechanism for us. So our marketing used to happen free of cost, and became another line of business for it. At its heyday, before we shut it down, we were distributing around 15,000 copies of the magazine and we were selling it in places like Gangaram and so on. 2009, by 2008, I started realizing that classifieds and magazines and so on won't really work, because for Golden Square itself, we were getting a lot of inquiries from the internet, right? So search had really picked up. And then 2009, that crisis, we suddenly realized our loyal advertisers also were, backing out, because, they were kind of questioning why they should be spending advertisement money on print. So I saw the writing in the wall. I decided to close down that business. But meanwhile, something else happened. My sales team in Business Gyan were asking me again and again, we need new customers. You need to, where do we get new customers? We need leads, right? We need leads.
Very true.
And around this time, a friend of mine, I was, so there's a side story on networking over here. So I was part of a network called Excel. And there, the person who started Excel in India, his name is Yap. So he started the same thing in Mumbai. And in Mumbai, the national director of BNI, he was Neeraj Shah. So he said, we want to start BNI in Bangalore and we are looking for some good people to do this. Yap immediately reached out to me and a few others and said, hey guys, you have to check it out because BNI has seen it in Malaysia. It works very well. And he pestered us for 6 months. You have to check it out and you are the guys to do this. So finally, because of that pestering, I went to Mumbai. We went to Mumbai, saw a BNI chapter meeting, and I was wowed because people were standing up and saying, I got a referral for you, I got business for you. And they were so happy about this, right? They were so happy about giving business to others. Of course, Mani is a BNI member. He knows the joy of giving business to others. Yes. And I was floored, and I immediately knew that I had a solution for my sales team that, I'll solve their problem of getting more leads.
For the leads, more leads you will get now.
So I immediately, said, okay, I'm going to start this in Bangalore, and we did. And we have partners, Mac Srinivas and Anantram Varayur. So together we teamed up and we started BNI in Bangalore. And that has been an amazing journey. So in fact, I solved my problem of my sales team because for the first, this was in 2007 that we started BNI. And I think we lasted for 2 more years because of BNI. That is, Business Gyan got new customers because of BNI.
BNI.
Wow. Yeah,
wonderful.
The first 4 chapters had Business Gyan, team members in those chapters. But finally, once the crisis happened, it just collapsed. The advertising revenue just collapsed. I knew that this is not going to last.
Yeah.
So decided to shut it down. Business Gyan is still, by the way, on, but not much attention is given to it. It's still online. It has become an automatic aggregator of interesting stuff. So you can check it out, businessgyan.com. But honestly, I'm looking for some people who can, say, okay, now time for Business Gyan again. Because when we stopped Business Gyan, the eyeballs had not yet, the mobile phones for reading was not a habit yet. Right?
It's a hard copy magazine, right?
Yeah.
Business Gyan is a hard copy magazine.
Even the advertising dollars had changed to search.
Definitely, yeah.
But, viewership was still not,
higher.
Now it's a different world. People read in mobile phones, read on tablets and so on. So maybe it's time again for Business Gyan to come out in another avatar, but I don't know. Let's see if some entrepreneur is saying, okay, Balaji, I'll partner with you. I'm happy to kind of give that opportunity and kind of work with that person. Because there is still a gap, because the gap Business Gyan used to fill was providing useful information for companies who are just starting up, right? Okay. And it used to, a lot of useful stuff, and that kind of information is not even today available in that much, especially localized in terms of what's relevant to say Bangalore. That kind of information is not available yet. So in any case, so that's one. So BNI now has been such a lovely journey. Today BNI Bangalore has 2,500 plus, 2,550 plus members. And it's been such a amazing journey because all of these members, several of them don't do any other marketing activity. They just do BNI and they get 100% of their business through referrals to BNI. And for a lot of our members, it's a very important part of their, funnel for getting new customers. Even for Golden Square, our serviced offices, we get nearly 35 to 40% of our business through BNI referrals. And we have got 4 memberships.
Very interesting.
Memberships from Golden Square in BNI Bangalore. So that's the kind of, so if we really sum it up, the journey, so there's another story over here. So while, so another side story, which is actually my passion. So I said, I was feeling like a cog in the wheel. And that's why I quit business and so on. And I didn't want my team members to feel the way I was feeling in in a corporate environment, right? So I kind of decided that I want to change the rules of the game, that as an entrepreneur, my business needs to run on its own. I need not be available day to day on operational front, right?
Okay.
So that was one of the rules that I made for myself, because I was getting into business entrepreneurship for my lifestyle reason. I wasn't getting into business for some fame or fortune or something like that, right? So it was a lifestyle choice. So that was one rule that I made. So how do I run a business without being there, right? And so from day one, I was kind of thinking about this and designing Golden Square like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want my team members to feel like, work is a pain kind of a thing. I wanted them to really enjoy the work, right? So how do we create an environment like that? So I've been doing it. So last 24 years has been an experiment to how do we create an environment like that. So some of my BNI members started noticing our Golden Square team. How come your guys are acting like entrepreneurs? How come they are so engaged? How come you are spending so much time in BNI while your business is
It's running on its own.
Yeah.
Yay.
So they started pestering me, and I started, reluctantly at first, but then with a lot more josh later once I saw the results happening for others. So they started asking me for advice, and I started sharing it, and it started giving results for them. And over the last 4 years back, they started pestering me about this. And over the last 4 years, that has become like a small movement called Liberated Enterprise Creators. And where I share, and these are cutting edge concepts. It's not that I'm an inventor of these. It's just that I'm applying these. It's there out there. There are several organizations which work like this. And I share these concepts. I call them mindsets. And there are certain practices, I call them methods. And there's a way for aligning your inner self, inner voice to the external opportunities which are there. So which I call it manifestations. So these are the kind of things that I share in these workshops, and that's becoming a small movement. And it's being very, very. I mean, that's my passion. I do it, and since it's benefiting so many people, I think more than 250 odd entrepreneurs that have gone through this, and at least 30 of them, 35 of them have kind of with gusto implemented these concepts in their organizations. So it's really been a wonderful journey. So one of the pointers is, while every problem has an opportunity, that's one lesson. The other lesson is, you be driven by your inner moral compass, but you just allow the future to evolve. You don't know how the future is going to be. You just let it evolve, and it'll come to you. It'll just, the opportunities, the thing will just come to you. So it's a journey of discovery, and it's a lovely thing to be an entrepreneur. So if you're making a choice to become an entrepreneur, I say just go for it. And this is the time to do it. When I started business, there was nothing called VC. There was nothing called venture capital, right? So I had to go and borrow money from State Bank of India, and the interest rate those days used to be 18%. Okay, so in fact, my first 2-3 years was, okay, I get money here, give it to the bank, and that was really how the situation was. There was nothing called risk capital, right? So now you can think in so many. I mean, you can be a lot bolder. You can dream a lot bigger, because there'll be people who are kind of willing to back your dream. They're willing to kind of, the environment is totally changed. I mean, imagine when I started business, a telephone line used to take 8 months, right? Yeah. That was the kind of environment I started business in. Everything was slow. And I mean, people didn't kind of appreciate you being an entrepreneur. That was not kind of looked up at with any kind of, regard or something like that. They'll kind of, what? You left a job in university? Yes. You're an entrepreneur? What the hell are you doing? Right? So, suspicion. There must be something really crazy about this guy. So, now the world is different. In fact, entrepreneurship is celebrated. It's encouraged, and the environment actually rewards it. So which brings me to the point that recently, I got associated with Venture Catalyst, which is the 7th largest, angel investing, rated as 7th most active in the startup angel investing ecosystem Wonderful. In the world. So luckily, I got associated with them, and so I think that's another thing I can bring to the startups. And I'm enjoying that, because I just watch these pictures and so on, and I just kind of so much learning for me, and just watching these startups with their brilliant ideas. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
So powerful. Yes, wow. Mani, to you.
I've been just amazed listening to what all Balaji is sharing. So incredible achievements, Balaji.
Very true.
I was totally impressed. After many, now I have one very curious question. So after so many incredible achievements, can you highlight key factors which you think help you to reach here? I actually want to know more of what differentiated you from others and what was
Okay.
actually
I
taking
think
you in a different way. Yeah.
sure. I think in
Yes.
retrospect, it was the way I handle people,
Okay.
and which has become the Liberated Enterprise Creators Program. I think that idea that we need to trust people and give them space so that they can grow and become the the best that they can be. I think that has been my I think a key strength. And I think
Which
I mean,
differentiated, yeah.
the biggest challenge that I have faced in business is happening right now during the COVID times, because our spaces, Golden Square has taken a
Yeah.
big, huge hit. It hasn't ever, I was never seen this kind of a situation in the last 24 years, where people are kind of downsizing and people are gone working from home, and why do we need offices and so on. For the first few months of the lockdown has been really, really bad. But you know what's happening now? The next future is emerging for Golden Square, where my team is now working on 7 different, we call it circles, 7 different new services that we can offer to clients, because our motto is joy at work. So the idea is, hey, it doesn't matter where you're working. We want to make your work joy at work, right? So our team can get into automation like spreadsheets and things like that, follow up, backup, calls and things like that. Our team is actually very well equipped in sourcing, talking to vendors, sourcing the best rates, project management, and so on. And into real estate sourcing. And you know what? In all of this thing, I'm more or less like a spectator. I'm just going there, and my team is doing all this wonderful stuff. My role was just to kind of create that space, guys. This is the thing. This is what is happening. I think we need to do something different and make it happen. And the team is working on this concept of that host salaries should not be dependent on the space revenue. It should come from the services aspect, right? And so this is the new feature that is happening, and it's amazing because all those liberated enterprise concepts, right? Is actually this is the time that I kind of say, hey guys, I think we need to really go deeper into that.
Very true. Wonderful share, Balaji. What lessons about entrepreneurship do you wish you had known before when you started? Can you share some highlights on that?
I think, I wish some of these concepts about people and things like that I had known earlier. And also I believe, there's in the physics world, physics, you have this Newtonian physics and you have this, Einsteinian physics, right? They're 2 different physics. They don't meet. There's a breakdown point which happens somewhere. Okay, and that's something similar in terms of management as well, because I did my MBA from IIM Bangalore. So a lot of the stuff that you read in management institutions and so on is actually meant for large corporates, right? It's designed for that. Yep. So see, for example, if Infosys has to hire a person, you just need to put a job description in terms of this is what the requirement is, and there'll be 100 people lining up for the job, right? As an entrepreneur, you work with who's in front of you, who's willing to work with you, right? So there's a whole new way of thinking about people and issues and so on and so forth. I wish we had known that there's a different world, because for a long time in my entrepreneurial journey, I used to kind of think that I think I'm doing a lot of things wrong because I'm not doing the things which happen in larger organizations, right? And I believe, if somebody had told me, hey, it's just about working with whom you know, working with what you know, and what's around you. That's all that entrepreneurship is. It's nothing else. You don't have, it's a totally different way of,
different vibe.
Yeah, different environment. I wish somebody had told me that early on. I had to figure it out.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Yes, Mani, over to you.
It's the way you gave this example of this Newtonian physics and Einstein physics, it really gives a lot of thought on the entrepreneurial stuff that you also shared, more on whom we are working with and what you know, what to work with. So that's really the essence of entrepreneurship, and you have summed it up very well, Balaji.
Thank you, Mani.
Yeah, with this, I would like to ask you one more interesting topic. I mean, I'm always fascinated about this liberating business leaders from constraints. and so they can be in their flow. Now we would love to hear how exactly you're liberating business leaders. Also, please share what services your present venture is providing and how can all the entrepreneurs can benefit from it. Because when it has been set up for a bigger stage, let people understand what is that bigger stage for. I would love to hear from you.
We'll love to hear. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So it's really about, I think, so there is something which kind of connects the dots, right? It connects the dots, and there's something which kind of drives you. And I kind of realized that this has been the theme all along. Because when I got into entrepreneurship, it was about feeling that joy at work, feeling inspired at work. So what is joy at work? When you're doing something, you're so much in your flow that you're just immersed, and at the end of it, you don't feel tired at all, right?
Agree. Very true.
So, and what makes you tired? It's all these other things that need to happen at work, right? For example, in the office space, if you had to manage your own office, all the hassles of running an office, right? Including like who's going to open the office? That's a big problem. Who's going to open the office in the morning? Right? And these are pain. I mean, these are pain. These are like they are joy killers, right?
Yeah.
So it seems to me that has been the theme, and therefore Golden Square is about joy at work for our clients and for our team members, and making that environment so that our team members, our clients can be really productive. So that's the reason why we are so different from other co-working spaces and so on, because we provide so much of support, right? So that all these painful tasks and so on can be done by somebody else. You as a client can focus on what's important, right? So that's, and the same with our space as well. Our space is designed for productivity, not for distractions, because nowadays with co-working, the theme is community and so on, right? We don't really believe in that, because if you are coming to the office, you're coming there to be productive with your team. That's why we don't have glass walls. I don't know if you've been to Golden Square, you'll notice. We have solid walls because we want noise to be less. We want the visual pollution to be less, so that when you're working on important code, you focus on the code, you don't get distracted, right?
I like the term visual pollution. It distracts. I agree. I definitely agree with you.
So that's our thought process. The same thing, when it comes to BNI. Cold calling, all of us, it's so painful, right? Cold calling prospective clients and getting rejected and so on and so forth.
Not easy.
BNI is such a lovely way to generate business, through referrals, through people who kind of value the two of you, the client as well as the BNI member. It's again, making that whole idea, the whole process of acquiring new customers such a pleasure, right? And the same thing happens with liberated enterprise creators, where the whole idea of organizing people becomes a pleasure, right? Because in fact, you don't need to organize people, because they'll organize themselves. It's such a that's the power of the concept. So and the same thing I think is happening with venture capitalists, because we're kind of making it easier for getting access for startups to get funds and so on and so forth. So it's really about that, removing all the hassles in an entrepreneur's journey.
Wonderful.
Wow, that's been very excited, and I've been noting a lot of points. There are a lot of learnings today. It's been amazing, Balaji, to hear you. You shared a lot of very key insights for an entrepreneur. Let me try to present a few insights which I've actually captured. And definitely, it is a great learning for every entrepreneur, and every entrepreneur has to focus on these insights to make their venture into a bigger one and get on the big stage and try to take the opportunity. To start with, your entrepreneur journey, I actually captured it in the way it's in more basic steps of improvement. The first one is before, and the beauty was before internet and after internet. That was a key stage, which I loved it. So before internet, way back in 1995, you started the service offices, and which has become home for many corporates that ventured into India. Couple of them to mention are Dell computers and many, many more. So this was like a great start, more on working directly with the corporates and be in the system and be part of the the business flow as an entrepreneur. Then post the internet back in 2001, where you solved a big challenge of getting clients for the kind of tricky market you work in, with kind of setting up this water holes at 90 locations in Bangalore, which in turn created a lot of traction for you. Plus, you also started a very interesting magazine called Business Gyan, where people could advertise their business. And the success rate was so high that it reached up to 15,000 copies with a lot of classifieds and all. And eventually the problem, whatever was the challenge or whatever, it turned out to be a revenue generation mechanism. That is a great learning for entrepreneurs as well. Then you didn't stop there. In 2007, you went on creating an example for how best leads can be converted, how leads can be auto-generated with in more of a pipeline by investing your time and partnering with Max Srinivasan, Anantram Varayur, creating BNI Bangalore. That's the best thing an entrepreneur can imagine, to create a world of networks. And you have created it, and that solved the problem of your sales team, which gave a lot of referrals. That's really inspiring. And liberated enterprise creators.
Yes.
And very fortunate that today that is a movement. 200 plus people are following the liberated enterprise creators. That's a phenomenal example of creating entrepreneurial success. And again, in 2019, as you ventured with the venture catalyst to give the helping hand to startups, that takes all this success to a totally a different level. Joy at work. That's what the wonderful thing that any entrepreneur can dream of or believe, or any business can go through. Joy at work. For entrepreneur, what he sees or whom he talks to is the world where he has to work with.
Yeah.
So the same principles of marketing or management or leadership doesn't work effectively in this way. And that's where the liberated enterprise creators is actually creating a great storyline and great inspiration as well as motivation to all the entrepreneurs by having joy at work, which is more like everyone is at a flow and you don't really feel tired when you're at work. That's the best part of joy at work. Dream for any entrepreneur to be in that state of flow and spread the joy at work. Entrepreneur examples you have given so far is inspired at work, which is like, I really love the word you coined, less visual pollution. Like, have hard walls at work, get your focus back on the job on hand, get the work delivered. That's where you get inspired. Idea of organizing teams is enabling to organize themselves. That's the best. Anytime can happen to a business or an enterprise. Wow, such a incredible insights, and great to hear from you, Balaji. Thanks for all the share, and it was really awesome to hear out from you. And that's all. I mean, I'm speechless now. I'm excited, pretty much excited listening to you.
Thank you so much.
Balaji. Thank you, Balaji. Over to you, Charu.
Very well summed up, Mani. Really, it's a wow story, and it should be reaching out to entrepreneurs to understand how things can be done in a better way. And if there's a problem, there's a solution always. We'll be sharing on all 8 social media channels at Women Lines. So do check out, and it will be a pleasure to share all details there. Do check out the profile, do check out the websites, and stay tuned to it. Thank you so much. Wonderful session. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Balaji. Thanks to have you on the show. You both of you have made our day today by making us learn so many insights that we could take back to our work, and we definitely try to learn from this and try to make Bizway a better place so that entrepreneurs can actually come and learn more and more. And we also do our bit from our side in facilitating and making the reach to maximum entrepreneurs to learn from the insights that you have shared today. Thank you for all that.
Thank you, Mani. Thank you, Charu. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Balaji. Thank you,
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Lovely seeing you.
Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.